Hello and welcome back to the channel. Listen, it's really good to have you here today. This video is a little different, but I think it's probably one of the most important ones I've made on the channel so far. And I know I tend to say that in every video, but just to stay here with me. A few weeks ago, I shared something that really came from the heart. I guess it was just basically on the moment, and I wasn't really planned. It wasn't like a polished video. It was just something that I needed to set on the day and really hope that will help someone out there. And what a surprise, it actually did. The response, it was honest and emotional, and people share their stories with me about heartbreaks, about betrayal, about confusion, but most of all about the deep silence that happens when you let someone go. At that moment that it's not really about winning or losing. It's about you. It's about choosing yourself. So today, I want to stay in that space. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about what happens when someone that you let go just try to come back. Because it happens more often than we think, right? Probably happens to all of us. And when you let someone go, they're gonna try to climb back. And when it does shake something inside you. You might feel, for example, proud because they return. You might feel, for example, confused. Or you might feel triggered all over again, right? And you might feel this part of you that I want to explain yourself. That said that this is why I left, or this is what you did. You hurt me and I had to let it go. But I want to offer you something different in this situation. Something that has completely shifted the way that I respond on these situations. And this is that you don't need to say a word. Silence is enough. And you know, that really go against our instincts, because when something hurts, we want to speak it. We want to name it. We want to prove it. We want to defend it, right? I mean, it's a natural instinct. But sometimes the most healing, powerful, and honest thing that you can do is to stay still and say nothing. Because silence is not avoidance. Silence is clarity. When you stop explaining yourself to people who don't really get it, you really get back your power. And I want you to break this down properly, because this isn't about ghosting, isn't about being cold. It's about knowing your worth. It's about energy. It's about peace. Let's start with why silence is so powerful. For example, when you stay in silence, you give yourself, first of all, a space to breathe. You are not rushing to fix the story or rescue someone's ego or defend your values. You are simply standing on your own energy with nothing to prove. And I know how hard this is because I've been there many times. There was a situation actually a while ago with someone who was really close to me actually, and at first I didn't even realize how much their presence was taken from me, and it was just all these little things, comments, then became expectations, and all of a sudden it just felt like emotional weight that I was just carrying around quietly without telling her. But eventually I started to feel drained with that person, and I knew I need to create some distance. And so I stopped chasing it. I stopped explaining, and most importantly, I stopped engaging. That's the main thing. No dramatic, no drama, no goodbye, no final message. No, just space. And guess what happened? She never reached out again. I've never heard from her ever since. That was a while ago, actually. But does silence really reveal everything that I needed to know? If someone's disappear when you stop feeding their connection, that tells you something very real. Pay attention to it. It means that you weren't being met. You were used. And your presence was just basically filling the space that on their lives that they weren't being able to fill in for themselves. Now, listen, I don't say this with the judgment. I actually say this with compassion because I've also been on the other side too. And I've been sometimes the person who didn't realize how much I was taking. I've been on both sides. I'm happy to recognize that. But once you see it and you feel this way, you cannot unsee it. You know what I mean? Like, that's the moment when really silence becomes your protection. So you stop. You stop explaining. You stop performing. And you just let it be. That's it. And the beauty of this is when you need to fight for recognition. You just give the space to recognize your absence. And not everyone will, but the ones who do, who recognize that you're gone, matter. And this brings me to something that I study and I live through many times, and it's the wisdom to Stoic philosophy. Listen, this is not a trend, this is not a quote from the internet. This is a way of living that is written from 2,000 years ago. And one of my favorite lines from, I think it's Marcus Aurelius, yes, Marcus Aurelius, says that you are not disturbed by the events, but by your thoughts about them. Just let me repeat this again, please, and let's just sit it for a moment. You are not disturbed by what happens. You are disturbed by the way you process what happens. That's where your emotions become very weird. And that's exactly why silence helps you to do. To give your space. And instead of reacting in the heat of the moment, you just pause. You just reflect. And you just let the truth raise without pushing it. That's it. I'm out. Just disconnect. And that's why silence shows emotional control. It shows that you are not easy pulled into the noise. It shows that you don't need validation to know your value. And that's not cold. That's being mature. And this is not passive. This is actually really powerful. When someone betrays you, when someone lies to you or plays the victim, they often want you to respond because your response will give them something to work with, you see? But if you said nothing, if you just keep going with your life and holding your own energy, that's when it really becomes clear. And you are just not part of the story anymore, and they have not really power over you. And that's what silence does. But now, listen, I want you to acknowledge something, because this is important. And we're just talking about our own emotions. Even when we know this is the right thing to do, it doesn't mean like our emotions go away. The anger, the grief, the resentment, and sometimes the desire just to be understood. Hey, I'm here, there's something I'm gonna tell you. Like, all those feelings are still real. And that's why I want to give you a little practice. This is just a little exercise, and it's a simple way to let those feelings out without letting them leak into the people who don't deserve them. And this is something I use in my coaching, and I want to offer it in here because I think this will help, and this is actually the most powerful thing of all the silence part. So if you're holding into anger, confusion, or hurt, try this. Find a quiet space. Just a space that you can be on your own with no interruptions for like 20 minutes and light a candle. This is important, a little candle. and because that flame represents the fire within you, the fire energy, and it's that fire that we call burn your house down or warm your heart if you know how to use it wisely. So now, get your journal or a sketchbook or a piece of paper, or listen, if you fancy, you can get your phone out, okay? And then just think about it and imagine that the person who heard you is just across the room from you, is sitting in a chair there, honestly, and just picture them, all right? Or they are on the other side of the phone. Just think about the other person is right next to you. And then speak. Say everything that you want to say. All the pain, the truth, the disappointment. This is the time to get your point across. Get it out, honestly. And you're not really holding it back from them. This is the moment that you have to release, because you're doing it for yourself. And have that phone call. Just literally let the energy move. And if you have to say off, say it. That's it. Or write it down, okay? Just let it all down. And when you're done, listen, if you write it down in a piece of paper, just honestly turn it into pieces. If it's safe, put a little bit, burn it down. And if you're on the phone, just hang up. You're not like, that's it. And just silence that. And stay in this moment, quiet. Because this is your moment to reclaim the power, all right? Once you've let it all out, but you didn't give it away. You didn't post about it. You don't have to tell anybody about this, all right? You didn't call them. That energy wasn't really across from anyone, but just out of you. You release it from your own space, all right? And listen, this is something that I haven't really made up myself. This is a very standard exercise to energy release. Have you done it? If any of you have done it, let me know, please. Or if you've done something like this, please let me know. If you ever choose silence instead of the chaos, how does your body respond? Like, what does it change after the moment that you just move yourself away? Let me know in the comments, or message me privately. Listen, my DMs are open and so many people are reaching out on DMs, so you are more than welcome to get in touch with me. I love to hear from all of you. So, and listen, if you want to go deeper into this, if you want more tools like these or more practice or maybe more private guidance, I have a space that is just for that. So on my Patreon, which the links are down below, I have all these exercises. I have this full exercise on a printable form, along with another coaching sheets and journal prompts and many other practices that will help you to feel more grounded, clear and empowered on this life journey. That's what I'm here to help. Remember, this is a space for growth. This is a space of truth, and this is a space for you. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for watching. Honestly, I'm so excited to see how this is growing. Thank you for showing up for yourself, and I'll see you on the next video.